as someone who's very involved with the ports these days, I want to make a comment about that chart that showed the number of ships offshore down almost back to pre-COVID level. We're down to 27 on Monday, sitting offshore. But what you need to understand is that there are over 500 ships sitting off of Shanghai Harbor that have not been able to get into the harbor in the last 3 to 4 weeks. And of those, at least half of those will be coming to the West Coast. And there's 25 actually en route from China, from Asia to the port. So we're in kind of a lull right now, but we're actually going to see that jump way back up. I'll make one more comment about the dollar. The dollar is higher for several reasons. One, as Brian said, is due to the Fed, but the other one is that in my 40 plus years of doing business around the world, I know that the dollar is a safe harbor. And with wars going on and energy problems in China, people go to the dollar. It's a safe harbor. So I'll leave my comments at that and then go on to my presentation if I can get it to go. We're going to be all over the place today. We're going to go all the way from NATO's expansion to Hong Kong and everything in between. Quickly though, because Bill only gives me a certain amount of time. Okay, this is a map that has to do with NATO, and I think it's very important for us to understand this map. You can see pink over here. I like the color pink for Russia. It's not quite red, but it's pink. And the countries that are in this kind of a yellow orange were these were the members of NATO before 1991. Then after the communist bloc fell, all of the countries here in what then was called or Eastern Europe came in, like Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, that sort of thing. And then here's Belarus right here, and here's Ukraine. And now we have our latest friends coming in, Sweden and Finland. Finland has 830 miles of direct border with Russia, which is really pretty scary when you think about it. So I just wanted to let you see the kind of the not only where the countries were, but their magnitude of size and their nearness to Russia. As I said, the dark orange are ones that came in post-communism, 1991 and later. And so this gives you a really good idea of the fortress NATO. It really is a fortress now. And it's a fortress because of Russia. And thank goodness for that. So I'll leave that where it is. This is one of the charts that I found that I'm not really overly positive about. This is a Press Freedom Index. The darker color, the less freedom there is. And I think it's kind of interesting to look at what we see in authoritarian governments, Russia, China, Myanmar, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Pakistan. You can see Turkey's kind of in the middle here. It's called difficult, but not very serious. And then the lighter the color, the better. The ones that are this color are very good. And you can see that there's a real trend here that's not overly positive. This is a very interesting chart. Population density by latitude. Can you imagine that the world has the highest density in the tropics? Well, that probably means that that's that way because temperatures are better in the tropics. But it really is interesting the more the dense populations are in the particular latitudes. Interesting statistics. Okay, this is from The Economist a couple of days ago. This is pricing. And what's key here is if I can get it to work, this kind of dark line right in the middle is where prices were on February 24th, 2022. And so anything to the right of that and above it has gone up post-war. And one of the biggest, of course, is wheat and grains, which are being held off from export from Russia and primarily from the Ukraine. Crude oil is this dark blue, gone up about 15%. Whoops. But the key here is that this horizontal line was where things were as of 24 February. Fertilizer is somebody needs to mute themselves, please. Fertilizer is the kind of light blue in here. You can see it's dramatically gone up along with wheat because a lot of it comes from Ukraine and Russia. China is in a very interesting situation. The dark line is industrial output. The red line is retail sales. As you can see, they've dropped minus 15%, actually 11% in the last quarter. This is the first time that China's been below the line, except for right after COVID, in 30 years. And there are some fundamental changes going on in China that we'll talk more about in future months. Not really positive for President Xi, otherwise known as Winnie the Pooh, who's up for re-election later this year. This is a very interesting one. This is from The Economist. This is how fast in the United States technology is adapted. So you see here, we've got electric power started back in about 1905 and got to 100% adaptation about the time I was born, late 40s, early 50s. Internet started in about 1988 and is now at about 90%. Look at the smartwatch, started in 2016 or something like that. And now is at about 40%. And then if you go over here, and shipment of smartwatches and fitness trackers, again, 2013 was just a little above zero for most of them. And you can see that per thousand people, 16 per thousand in North America. Really interesting technology. Here's the computer, the PC, which started in the 80s, and of course is still not at 100%, by the way. But getting there, getting close. Mobile phones right up at about 100%, started again back in the late 80s. So interesting technology adaptation, which seems these days to be going much faster than growing much faster in penetration than the past. Here's a telephone landline, by the way. See that? I don't know how many of you have a landline. I don't. So anyway, interesting statistics. Okay, now this is a little unusual. This has nothing to do with politics and economics, but we just launched a new space telescope that had been under development for about 30 years. And this is a picture of a certain set of galaxies taken by the latest telescope launched before the current one, well after Hubble, of one particular part of the galaxy. And here is this picture taken by the James Webb telescope just a couple of weeks ago. Look at the difference in clarity between these two telescopes. I'm a space nut and a technology nut. I think this is pretty amazing what's happened in a short period of time. Now we're going to go to the cartoon. Welcome to Hong Kong, sir. If I could just remind you that visitors are limited to 2 tins of baby formula. This is quite a contrast. Thank you very much.